Hello and welcome to Mottisfont. We're standing in the beautiful walled garden. My name is Emma McNamara and I'm the Horticulture Development Specialist for the National Trust. And we're here today to explore the gardens and see some of the beautiful roses that are part of the National Collection growing here. It's such a wonderful setting. The rose garden is within the walled garden, which is also set within this country estate of Mottisfont. The atmosphere here this morning, it's one of those early summer days, so the flowers are at their freshest and it's very beautiful. The colours are very vibrant and the smell that's wafting on the breeze is just gorgeous. So this part of the walled garden used to be the old kitchen garden, and Graham Stuart Thomas, who was the very first gardens consultant for the National Trust, decided it was the perfect place for him to bring his collection of pre-1900 shrub roses, and they could grow in this environment perfectly with lots of space and light to make them very healthy. And visitors that came to the gardens included Audrey Hepburn.
Most old roses bloom only once a year. At the height of the season in June, at Mottisfont Abbey, during high rose tide, the magic of old roses still weaves a spell.
Unique in the world.
Unique
I'm
in
sure
the
there
world.
isn't a collection like this anywhere.
No.
Because they're pre-1900 roses, these roses are very special because they only actually flower once. I think people love them because they are so beautiful for such a short period of time, so you get to enjoy them for a few weeks, and it's the exuberance that makes the collection so special. This rose in particular is a moss rose, and its name is Henry Martin, and it dates back to 1863, and it's just got the most fabulous lemony perfume, and the moss feeling on the buds is just so beautiful that it makes it one of my favourites. Maintaining this garden takes a lot of work. Pretty much the gardeners are working in here all year round. We have winter pruning, which takes a long period of time, basically from November through to February, and then we obviously have to mulch the borders and feed the roses. But we don't deadhead the roses here because they only flower once. We leave the heads on so that they will produce really beautiful hips for the autumn, which is an added element of colour for people to come and see later in the year. We don't spray them for black spot. We are totally organic within this garden because it's beneficial for nature and the roses are still thriving. This is what it looks like pretty much every year. You will come and see these roses. They put on a show for everybody who wants to see them. The garden is underplanted with a lot of interesting plants which give structure and colour to the rest of the season. They also cover the ground so that it helps retain the water. And Graham Stuart Thomas was quite specific in the colours that he wanted in this garden. He wanted silvers and whites, which would really offset the roses when they were at their peak. As you can see with the bright pinks, this is a really calming, soothing part of the design. So in other parts of the gardens at Mottisfont we have different types of roses growing. So here you can see there are some rambling roses. We've got moss roses, tea and china roses growing around the gardens, and we also have planted a lot of roses which now flower later into the autumn, which you'll be able to come and enjoy in different parts of the gardens. It's really simple to grow roses in your own garden. They will grow in most aspects. You can even grow them in containers or pots on your patio. So top tips for planting your own rose garden is to think about the eventual height and size of the roses, and when you're planting them to make sure that you've dug a really good, decent sized hole. Place some mycorrhizal fungi in the base and plant the roses on top with really good compost, and then water them in. You don't need to prune them the first year, but pruning for the second year will really give you shape and form and help with air circulation, and that will prevent you getting any pests and diseases in your newly planted roses. There's a few simple things you can do to keep your roses looking healthy and flower well, and one of them to do at this time of year is to deadhead your roses if they are repeat flowers. So when your flowers start to look a bit faded, just cut them off and you'll get a new flush of buds coming through, which will keep the roses going through the rest of the summer. Also, whilst they're flowering like this, they really need a lot of food, so you need to add some feed to the water if you give them water, and add mulch to the soil, which will then transfer into the roses to keep them looking healthy and producing flowers. So it's important to look after this collection of roses because it is so unique and special, and historically there's no other collection like it in the UK. So we're starting a restoration programme for this garden because some of the roses are getting old and past their best, so we need to propagate and grow more roses to replace them with, so that future generations will be able to come and see not only these roses but the roses that are propagated from them. I really hope you've enjoyed this whistle-stop tour of this historic rose garden here at Mottisfont. We look after these rose gardens and special places only with the help of you, our members and supporters. So we really look forward to seeing you here and visiting this rose garden and others near you for inspiration in the near future.